Welcome everyone, it's Matt, and today for class we're going to talk about Butterfree Gmax event that's happening August 3rd. So get seated, take some notes. Alright, for the max battle day, for the Butterfree Gmax battle, we're going to have timed research available to the event. It's going to be the same stuff that we've done before. We're going to have the Dynamax Darumaka as the Pokemon that you'll be able to get from the DMAX. It is actually, once again, a pretty good one that they're giving us. Obviously, it's not the top one, but it is going to be the best DMAX that they can give us. So, all in all, I'm actually pretty happy with the choice that they've given. With that, you will also be able to get candy and max particles. Always, always, always complete this mission. If you're trying to do the max battles, they only count for Dynamax battles. They do not count for Gmax battles. So don't expect that you only need one or two more. And I'm going to do these on the Saturday. They will not count. Make sure that you do that beforehand. Otherwise, as some trainers I've seen, will be very disappointed. Also, with that, make sure that you don't claim the max points that you need for this until you are done with this timed research and you've maxed it out to the best of your ability. Then claim it, save it for the Butterfree Gmax battle. They will give you enough for one to potentially might be able to fill you up for a second free battle overall. Obviously, we are getting a Butterfree for the Gmax, and it does have a shiny opportunity. And personally, it's one of my favorite shinies, especially if the Gmaxes. There is a $4.99 ticket. The timed research will give you one max mushroom. Whoop-de-woo. I'm just collecting these at this point. Some XP. But the more important thing is you'll get 2 times XP for max battles, especially if you're not done with level 50 yet. And also with all the rumors of level 60, it's always good for everybody to get extra XP right now anyways. On top of it, we'll get the max particle collection limit increased to 5,600, which will give us the ability to do 7 additional battles, assuming that you can actually collect all those max particle collection limits. And this will be effective from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. On top of that, we also have event bonuses. So if you're not paying for the event ticket, and these $4.99 ones, I do suggest, if you can afford it, to get these, as if you're going to do more than 2 battles, and if you're going to do basically even 5 battles, without the absorbing and collecting max particles, then it's definitely worth the ticket, even if you're never going to use the max mushroom. But if you're doing free, it's max 1,600, so it'll get you 2, and on top of it, you'll get 2 times max particles from exploring, which is a quarter adventuring distance. Make sure that you don't have it completely accepted, otherwise it'll be 300. You get 600 from the 2 times max particles. So the optimal at that point will be to claim 1 8x max particle from the power spots, 2 max particles from exploring. And I know there's others where they say, hey, if you do 3, yada, yada, yada. But that's the way I generally do it for the 1,600. If you're doing the 5,600, you definitely are going to want to claim those exploring particles fairly quickly, unless if you have 7 or more max spots where you can collect from. Where we do it in my area, we've only got 4, so that's only going to be 3,200, and with the 2,400 plus, you need at least claim 4 on top of that, and that would get you to the 5,600. All the power spots will host Gmax battles. Sometimes you do see one that's not, but so far they've been doing a much better job, other than the New Zealand areas where sometimes they mess up. With that 8 times there, and we'll get 2 additional special trades during this 2 to 5 o'clock. So that gives you 4 special trades, which is really, really nice. I got to use all 4 during the last lap with the Lapras event myself. And we will also have the daily remote raid limit from 5 p.m. August 2nd to 8 p.m. from 10 to 20. So if there's something that you really want to do on Friday night and Saturday night, you can spend up to 40 remote raid pass limits instead of 20. Let's talk about Gmax Butterfree. Butterfree is a bug flying type, and it is going to be giving us our bug Gmax, and it's going to be that 450 sweet power if you level it up to level 3. Gigantamax Butterfree does take increased damage at 156% with Rock, which would be incredibly useful if we had any Pokemon that really could do lots of damage with Rock. I'm going to give you a hint. Most of my suggestions are not using Rock to attack. The 60% gives you it's weak to Electric, Fire, Flying, and Ice. Obviously, those are going to be more of your style that we're going to be using. As I say, it's really annoying that Kabuto is a rock type unit that does not have a rock type fast attack, which is pretty much useless for us right now. Gmax Butterfree, though, is strong to bug at 37.5%, 60.9% fighting in grass, and ground is 75.6%. That would be a little bit more exciting if Butterfree had slightly better stats, but its attack is at 167, and that's its best attack, which is below average. Its defense and HP are fairly below average, but Butterfree will make a decent ground tank at the very least. It is not the most powerful, but it does have a 0.5 second move with a catch, and I'll talk about that in a second. But before we go, the Butterfree IVs, 983 will be our floor, and 1044 will be our hundo for CP. All right, we have the Gmax Butterfree, and our catch is it does have a fast move, 0.5 seconds with Bug Bite, and that will require an elite fast TM. It is something that you're probably only going to obviously do with your best Butterfree, and overall, I'm going to highly suggest that we're going to choose the highest attack, followed by the highest defense IV, followed by the highest HP IV. So those are going to be your orders for the IVs that you are looking for, and in general, it's going to be pretty much just attack that we're going to be using Gigantamax Butterfree for the most part. The charge moves we will be seeing, there is only 3. There is 2 bug and a psychic. Overall, the most damaging move might be psychic. Haven't really done the full calculation with the 20%, but with the 3-second versus the signal beam, I think it is just slightly stronger overall. But going to be honest, Butterfree is going to be, unless if they boost it, which honestly they could, it's not going to really hit as hard as probably Latios and Latios will, and overall will be a pretty simple battle. None of these moves are very fast. 3.5 seconds versus 3 seconds. So I don't really expect Butterfree to be spamming attacks very often. This is the bug elemental damage. So especially when we're doing Gmaxes or a Pokemon that is going to excel at a certain type, as I always say, I try to do better next time. This is one of the things where I will try to do better, and we will kind of talk about what is bug elemental damage good for. And honestly, it's not good for a great deal, but Grass, Psychic, and Dark are the 3 where you're going to excel at for. And there are some optimal Pokemon to attack with Bug. Probably one of my favorites is going to be Hoopa Unbound, if we ever get a Dynamax version of it, which honestly, I kind of really hope. I really do like Hoopa, and Hoopa is 156% weak to Bug. Another interesting one for me, but is not part of the game yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dynamax gives us that as Iron Leaves, and you can see the rest there where, we'll have some interesting Pokemon to go through that are super weak to Bug, and this is where Gmax Butterfree will shine or fly. All right, we're going to do the damage capability Bug. Overall, Gmax Butterfree is the best overall bug damage, and Shuckle really skews the numbers here because Shuckle has absolutely no attack. But Butterfree itself was the weakest of the what I call normal attacks, and Metagross originally was the king of bug when it got upgraded with that 0.5 seconds. Now Butterfree is a better attacker. It is just a bit over 10% stronger than Metagross. It's about 10.2% at level 20, and it goes around almost 11% level 50. And honestly, if we're going to attack with Bug, Gmax Butterfree is going to be soaring high. All right, we're going to go through, and now we're starting to get a plethora of Pokemon that can actually counter. And for Butterfree, I've chosen the top 9. There really was 1 or 2 that might have been able to make it up here. But honestly, frankly, there's a clear winner, and the clear winner is Zamazenta. Zamazenta is going to make bug damage laughable at best, where it only takes even if you're got level 40 and not level 50, even only 19 or 15 damage overall. Psychic, it does take a little bit of damage overall. And the other main winner is going to be Metagross. I have Bullet Punch here, and I'm starting to crunch some numbers on another talk that I'm planning to have at the later this week. And it might be better to, instead of Bullet Punch, is to use its bug type, even though Butterfree is is strong against bug type, obviously, as its bug. But I haven't been able to test a half second when it's strong, or when it resists, to see how fast it fills up the max meter. But 0.5 seconds definitely does work with neutral and strong. But I did not get to be able to test that initially, so I'm still pulling Bullet Punch here. But if you want to try and keep, especially if you've spent the Elite Fast TM and you want to keep that 0.5 seconds on there, that should actually work out fairly well as well. Otherwise, Blissey doesn't have any resistances, and Zamazenta is definitely going to be much better off. It's going to be able to take a lot more damage overall, especially on the bug side, than Blissey will. And so for me personally, I've got Zacian, Zamazenta, Corviknight, and Blissey. And honestly, I should have put Metagross in instead of Blissey, but I know a lot of trainers are still stuck on using Blissey with that 0.5 seconds. Metagross with that 0.5 seconds can be also very useful as well, or the Bullet Punch. Might be a little slower then, but I would just switch it out with your Zamazenta when it does use a Psychic attack and then back. But frankly, Zamazenta will still be able to take 6 Psychic attacks at level 50 with ease, and I think even at 5 at level 40. So all in all, it's not that worry. And obviously, you just throw up another couple shields and it will stay for quite a long time. All right, the best attackers for Butterfree. And honestly, this is going to not be all that shocking. Fire is going to be our top one. Actually, it is shocking because Rock isn't the top. And that's because we do not have any Rock Pokemon that are useful right now, frankly. Now, you're seeing a whole bunch of colors on the chart here, and basically, I'm color coding to what type of elemental attack you should be using. Obviously, you want to be using your fastest attack if possible. So, yellow is going to be the electric attack. Most of the time, it's going to be spark, but some units only have 1 second attacks. The dark blue is going to be Dragon, which is only Gmax Charizard because of its Dragon Breath at 0.5 seconds, and that's Gmax only. Gmax Cinder is going to be that grayish color, or might even be light brown. That's going to be Tackle for the 0.5 seconds, once again, because Gmaxes are always going to attack with their element. The light blue is Flying type, and if you see 2 colors like Moltres, the attacks don't really matter because they're both equivalent. Moltres is only a 1 second attack, so obviously it's slow. And you notice Blastoise and Wailord, those are the brown for rock, but they hit so weak and they don't have the same type ability bonus. So they just don't have the damage overall. Blastoise and Wailord are... Wailord is our best rock attacker right now, but unfortunately, even at 156% extra damage compared to only 60, it still can't meet up to the Gmaxes or even Darmanitan, which is still the highest Dmax attack that we can do right now, and that will be obviously Fire. So right now, the best one is definitely going to be Gmax Cinderace, followed by Toxtricity and Gmax Charizard. The 3 best Dmaxes are Darmanitan, Zapdos, and Moltres, but frankly, anywhere between Blastoise and Zapdos at that point are fairly similar. Darmanitan still has a little bit bigger of a lead. And if you have noticed, I have not put in Gmax Gengar or Zacian, as they are not even in the top 15, but 16th and 17th on the list as well. So generally right now, you're going to take your best fire type, lightning type, or even flying type, as those are going to be really giving you your best. And if you have a really powerful Blastoise and that's all you have, then you're going to want to put the rock move on it and just use it for the attacks only. Cinderace and Gmax Toxicity Fires is a great element to go against Bug, but Cinderace is just still too much of a glass cannon. I do have Moltres and not Charizard on my tank list, but Charizard would be in the next top 2. So if you really want to be just using Charizard only, that is not going to be much of an issue. Gigantamax Butterfree obviously is going to be our tech. A Bug tank, I have it rated just below average. It is going to be our main ground tank, and obviously if you're using Gmax, you're probably going to have more Gmax than the other Butterfree, and so we'll probably be using that most as a tank. And for Bug, it's a good healer, but for normal Pokemon, it is just as a tank. It's a step behind everything. Still going to be the best ground. And this attacker, it actually is okay for Gmax because it does have that 450, but it is the weakest Gmax of them all right now with the attack that it has. All right, so for Mega units for Gmax Butterfree, which is obviously we're still going to be focusing on the XL. For me, I evolved an awful lot of Butterfree. No, not quite all the way to Butterfree. For my platinum badges from a while ago, so I don't quite have that much regular candy, but I have a decent amount of XLs, and through this battle, I should be able to enough to actually level it up to a very large amount if I need to. Still, having the extra bonus candy, even at level 1, which is just between the first time and the 7th time you've megaed, you get to level 2. That gives you a bonus candy with 10% chance XL. And you remember, you always get 3 chances for the XL, so that gives you a potential between 0 and 3. And level 3, which takes 30 megas, it gives you 2 bonus candy and a 25% chance for an XL. And an extra 100 XP as well. And so what mega units are you going to be using? Surprisingly, Bug and Flying are very common. Charizard, Beedrill, Pidgeot, Pinsir is actually both Flying and Bug. Salamence, Scizor, Aerodactyl, Heracross, Ray or Rayquaza, and Kyogre. They're all going to get you there, so you're going to just take the highest mega. For me, I've actually got a lot of these at level 3. A lot of these were my earliest ones. And with that, I'll have a plethora of choices to choose from, actually. All right, the overall battle plan for Gmax Butterfree. My team is going to be Cinderace, Metagross, and Zamazenta. I have a Hundo from New York City, Cinderace. Metagross is a 98, and a Zamazenta. I don't know if I'm going to choose my Hundo or my 98 Shiny. Honestly, this is going to be one of the easiest battles for me. Zamazenta is going to be the main tank, and Metagross is really only going to throw in there if it just keeps throwing out Psychic. Cinderace will definitely send Butterfree right to the light when transformed. Overall, Butterfree should be a fairly simple fight for Gmax. It does not have a lot of charge moves to worry about. Bug has a lot of weaknesses that you can honestly cheese. And Zamazenta is so powerful, you don't need to have that extra resistances that it has, but it does. And so let's abuse it. For groups of 8 or less, if you have the level 40 with anything in the top tank regions that I've posted and 1 or 2 top of the attackers, you're going to be able to get through this. If you're doing groups of 20 or above, you probably are only going to do 1 transformation, no more than 2. Obviously, depending on how fast you get through your max meters, this should be one of the easiest Gmaxes we have. Obviously, unless if they buff it, which honestly I could see that and still be fairly easy because of how weak Butterfree is. So, considering how weak it is Butterfree worth it for you? Right now, it is the best bug type attacker we have right now, but that is really niche. You saw that it's really only strong against 3 types, and really, we're only going to use it when it's the Pokemon are 2 of the 3 types between those elements. The only other really good thing about its ground defense, it's not the best either when you just calculate how well Articuno really has with its defense and its resistances, even though it's not the 75% to 60.95%. But Butterfree does have a 0.5 second move while Articuno does not. So it is going to be, if we need to have a ground tank, I will suggest that we still use Butterfree, but it is going to be something that needs shields because its HP is so low. Another huge plus is, at least for me, the shiny is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know, I just really like bright neon colors. That's just me. And obviously, the battle will net you a lot of Stardust and XP. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's not going to be a Gigantamax that we're going to use very often. If this is your first Gmax that your group will be able to take down, that's fine. Lapras is actually, I think, going to be a little harder than Gmax. And I do know that there was at least one group that was able to duo Gmax Lapras. So, all in all, I expect this to be easy. If you don't have a lot of Gmaxes, this is going to be one that, as long as you set up, get to level 40 or a little bit more, max out your attack, and make sure that your tanks have some guard. And if you're using Blissey, make sure you get your max spirit up. You should be able to do this. And, you know, as I say, it is going to be a Gmax, which means it will still be powerful. One of the things, though, I would like to see with Gmaxes is that instead of just having the super high attack, I would like to see on some of the weaker Gmaxes like Butterfree, where it might reduce the defense of the enemy by 5%, or Pokemon that you're fighting by 5%. Give you some other debuffs or something there, maybe slow it down by an extra half second, something that way. Then you'll be using these a lot more, and there'll be more mix and match than just using pure power. But that's what we have right now, and that's where this stands. And with that, that is the end of my session of class. If you enjoy my classes, please like and subscribe. That really helps the channel and my university to kind of power up. On top of it, I do have a twitch.tv at twitchtv.com/MagGuru. And I also have a Discord, which is my community page here. If you also like to join my community, there's the link below. That'd be much appreciated. And all paid supporters are put at the end of my classes. And with that, I honestly am more excited than I should be for Gmax Butterfree, just because I really want the shiny, even though my luck with shinies have been really, really poor. But with that, as always, I'll try to do better next time, class. Bye, everyone.